So Chris, tell us a little bit about your background and what you've been doing recently in the area of cybersecurity.
So my background is, well, my education goes all the way back to computer science and physics and mathematics, but I've been running a technology company for the better part of 30 years now, and one of the areas of our technology company deals with cybersecurity and management of cybersecurity. So over the past few years, we have been actively involved in developing cybersecurity programs for companies, even individuals, addressing cybersecurity concerns, and try to demystify cybersecurity for people so that they can understand what it is, how it is different than information technology, because there is a lot of confusion. People think that cybersecurity is an IT issue, and it has nothing to do with IT. Cybersecurity has to do with risk management. So explain that, help people understand that cybersecurity and IT are two different things, that you need to approach them differently, that you need to manage them differently, and you need to be active and vigilant about managing a cybersecurity program. So that's been what we've been up to.
You've just written a new book about
Yes,
cybersecurity.
I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Can you-
Available at Amazon and fine retailers everywhere, as they say. It's Cybersecurity Program Development for Business, the Essential Business Guide. It's published by Wiley. They've been fantastic publishers and editors there. And again, it is a book designed to convey in plain English how to go about understanding what the issue is with cybersecurity and how to develop and run a program, either yourself as an executive and a business owner or as a board member, or at a minimum be capable of completing a handshake with a cybersecurity professional so that you can establish a common dialogue and understand what it is that the business will need. So I'm very, very excited about the book.
And in terms of the state of cybersecurity today, can you just give us an overview of where we are, particularly in the light of the Facebook and Cambridge Analytica?
Sure. So we're nowhere near where we need to be. That's the first place. I think the best analogy that I have heard from Anna Murray is that we are in cybersecurity at the same place that we were when seat belts were mandated in the 70s. So if you remember in 1970s, finally after a lot of studies and a lot of accidents and a lot of back and forth, there was a law that says we are now mandating safety belt use. And again, if you remember, there was an uproar and a lot of resistance. You're interfering with my pleasure, or the way that I drive, with my personal freedom. And there was a lot of resistance in adopting this law. Now, all of these years later, we don't even think about it. We go into a car, the first thing we do is we put a seatbelt. So we are now in cybersecurity in the seatbelt era, where there's still resistance. A lot of people don't understand why they need to pay attention to cybersecurity. A lot of people resent the fact that they now have to deal with yet one more problem that they consider is technology, and it's not. It's, again, risk management. So as a result, they're ill prepared. They're driving their cars without safety belts. And the accidents in the era of cybersecurity are deadly. Deadly. And you see data being exfiltrated everywhere. People don't understand why this is happening. People using free services where they are the product, they are the data, and they don't even understand that, as in the case with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica and all of these services that basically harvest your data and sell them.
And beyond your own data, your friends' data in this
Oh,
case.
absolutely. That's the beauty of all of these free services out there, is that they harvest your data and all of your connections data. They also harvest your geolocation data. They harvest your behavioral data. They know what time you get up. They know what time you go to bed. They know what you buy. They know what you like, what you dislike, your political affiliations, your drug issues, your sexual preferences, everything that you can possibly imagine. They know more about you than potentially you, your family, and your closest friends know about you.
So left unchecked, where can this lead?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and essentially leads in the elimination of privacy as we understand it, even at the most elemental level. And if you're good with that idea, that's fine. If you're not good with that idea, then you're going to have to start regulating what that means. And this is a lot harder than it seems. A lot harder than it seems. We as a society, first of all, have evolved in understanding what privacy is and what privacy isn't. What was privacy 100 years ago is not what privacy was 50 years ago, and it's certainly not what privacy is now. Just consider the way that media dealt with FDR and his disability. Despite the fact that everybody surrounding FDR knew he had a disability, everybody essentially respected that wall of privacy that he had between his condition and the public. You just consider where that would be today, when you have a president that is actively being accused of pornographic behavior and this, that, and the other, and nobody bats an eyelash. Wiener, the famous Wiener with his sex pictures and all that, if Wiener was happening today, it would have been a totally different outcome. So even in a period of just a few years, somebody like Wiener today would probably come out and say, well, yeah, sorry, bad idea. And nobody would have thought anything more of it. 5 years ago, it was like, okay, get him out of Congress. So that's where it leads.
So you think our expectations of privacy have diminished?
Our expectations of privacy have changed. I don't know that they have diminished. They have certainly changed because societal norms have changed. In part, they have changed because of technology, and in part, we made a decision as humans, a lot of us have, about what is worth it to us. So we said that it's worth it to me to have an account with Facebook and share all of this otherwise private information, knowing full well that Facebook is going to market this information and harvest it and do this, that, and the other. The pleasure that I derive from using that free service is worth the compromise of my privacy. We've made that decision either explicitly or implicitly by using that service. And if you want to do it explicitly, read the user agreement, which nobody does, of course.
Right, right. So you think people sort of know that this is going on, and they're...
Oh, there's no question in my mind. I'm sure that people sort of know that this is going on, fundamentally because I respect people's intelligence and I refuse to believe that I am surrounded by morons. So I'm sure that people know what's going on.
So along those lines, we were talking a little bit about the state of smartphones and how much they're picking up, whether we know it or not. I actually didn't know that even if my phone is not in use, if it's in my back pocket but it's turned on, it can actually pick up exactly what I'm saying.
Sure. All of the sensors of the phone are on all the time, and therefore they can record information. They know your geolocation because they obviously have a GPS capability. They know everything about you, and there are several phones that even when you physically turn them off, the phone is not really turned off. It can be reactivated, it can be hacked and be reactivated remotely. Cameras and microphones can be turned on even though you think that the phone is off. The only sure way to know that the phone is off is to remove the battery, and that's becoming increasingly difficult now. A lot of the phones, the battery is not removable. So if you plan to have a private meeting and discuss things that are confidential, all of those devices need to be outside the room. Any Alexa devices, anything that has a microphone that's sitting on a table listening is a microphone there listening. It can be hacked and it can record the whole conversation. A computer can do the same thing now. A cell phone can do the same thing. And now there's tons of devices that are wearables that can also do the same thing. So you can have a watch that somebody can have on that it will do the same thing. So again, depending on the degree of confidentiality that you want to achieve in a meeting, these devices should not be part of the meeting.